Welcome to the Greytown Council workshop of December 17th. I'll start with roll call. Ann?
Present.
Krista?
Present.
Levi?
Present.
Mike?
Present.
And I'm also present. To my right is our town manager, Michael Foley. The workshop tonight is an executive session. We'll be entering into executive session under MRSA Title I, Chapter 13, 4056E to discuss attorney-client consultations. No decisions will be made following this executive session, and the council will adjourn following for our regularly scheduled meeting. So we will adjourn to executive session.
And then procedurally you'll just need a motion to go into the executive session, but I just wanted to note that the in addition to the council and myself, the town clerk will be joining us.
Yes. So typically do we always need a motion for an executive session? So even though this is a workshop, okay, very good.
Second?
Do we have a?
No.
Oh, I thought you made, well, I thought you made,
No, I
I'll make
was
a
just
motion to go into
answering.
executive session. Thank you.
I'll second.
All right.
Jumping the gun.
Are there any objections? All right.
No.
No. We will be back after our executive session. Thank you. Session. Our workshop is now over, and we've got just a couple of minutes until we start our regular meeting. Michael made a suggestion, which I thought was a good one, which was we can, in our agenda in the future, put that when we have a workshop like that, that our meeting will follow after, so that if we do end a little early, we can just go into our meeting and
Go straight into
and
our
not
meeting.
have to wait. I thought that was a
Yeah.
great suggestion.
Yeah.
So we can do that in the future.
So our meeting will start at 7 or earlier, or
Yes,
if
it
we
could
end
start
our
earlier,
executive
yeah.
session.
We would put on the agenda immediately following the
The executive
workshop.
session.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
workshop.
Okay, the workshop. Yeah, it doesn't have to be an executive session, it could be any workshop. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
That way, that workshop that we had where we had like about 40 minutes to go.
Yeah, yeah, that was wasted space, yeah.
I'm glad that went off now.
You're a popular man. Uh-oh. I'd go look for my...
Oh, so I steal yours.
Oh, sir. We'll start now, thank you.
Start the meeting now?
Yeah,
The town council meeting.
yep,
Okay, give me 1 minute.
yep. I just noticed we were on air, so
Yeah, he's just gotta reset the, what meeting we're on.
yep.
Know a little bit about what goes on back there now.
You've seen behind the curtain.
Yes.
We won't be able to see who's online unless that comes on.
If it doesn't, I have it on here, but he
You
should
do?
get that to
Okay.
come on.
Okay, we're good.
Thank you, Kyle. Good evening, welcome to the December 17th Greytown Council meeting. This meeting is being held in person and online. People may join the meeting remotely using the link above in the heading of the agenda, or watch the meeting live online and call during the public comment using the phone number above. Opportunities for public comment will occur as noted in the agenda. And we'll start with roll call. Mike?
Here.
Levi?
Present.
Krista?
Present.
Ann?
Present.
I'm also present, and to my right is our town manager, Michael Foley. Will you all please stand for the pledge with me, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our next item of business is approval of the December 3rd, 2024 regular town council meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion Krista, second. Ann, were there any adjustments to the minutes that anyone had? Seeing none? If there's no objection, we'll just consider the minutes accepted as is. All right. Our next order of business is council communication. Report from myself to start. We are looking for members of committees. It's kind of a perennial thing, but we are looking in particular for a member for our Board of Assessment Review. We currently have 2 members, but it is a 3-member board. The Board of Assessment Review basically reviews any challenges to property assessments, and we would like to have a full board. If there's anyone out there that might be interested in serving on this board, they can check in with the town website and fill out a volunteer application. That would be greatly appreciated. And if you're not interested in that board, there are other committees that we need help with too. The only thing I really wanted to report on, which I suspect Manager Foley will touch about, was the village transformation project meeting that we had back on the 11th. That's on the agenda for tonight for us to finally get to the point where we can actually pass our resolution. That will cement things with the Maine Department of Transportation, who will be responsible for writing the grant that will hopefully fund this project. It's still probably 2026, if I'm correct, when we would be eligible for funding. So it's still a ways away, but we've got to get the ball rolling if it's going to happen at all. And that's really all I was going to mention in my report tonight. The next order of business is council correspondence and committee reports. And Ann, you want to kick that off?
Sure. Let's see. Resiliency met last night, and we discussed in more detailed topics for the videos that we committed to doing under the Community Action Grant. The new phosphorus ordinance is getting reviewed by code enforcement and planning staff, and thanks to Mike Thomas, who will be working with them over the next month to incorporate their comments and to bring it back to resiliency in January. GPCOG is working with Falmouth and Wyndham to develop a pesticide ordinance that would cover areas within 75 feet of the shore. This may be something that Gray wants to consider once we complete the phosphorus work, nothing that we've discussed doing in the Community Action Grant, so not short-term work at all, but something to think about for later. The next quarterly report is due January 15th, and the committee is on track to meet the goals we committed to in the Community Action Grant. With Michael Foley, I attended the Extended Producer Reliability Training in Maine last week, and this is something that the Resiliency Committee may want to get into once the work of the Community Action Grant is complete. It was very, very interesting, very worthwhile. Open space, I missed this month's meeting due to a schedule conflict, but members reviewed a large map to discuss Gray Trail Network connectivity, and were to discuss open space plan goals, accomplishments, and sort of priorities for the coming year. And then this afternoon, we met with the Presumpscot Regional Land Trust and the new executive director there as part of their strategic planning process, and that was a really fruitful meeting. The VTP, as Dan mentioned, the resolution for MDOT is on the agenda tonight, and once approved, that final plan will be shared on the town's website. Very excited to be at this point, and really appreciate all the hard work that's gone into getting us to this, really to a point where we can be thinking about funding and putting the package together. Even if it's going to take us another year to do it, it's worth it. And I also wanted to just highlight that the MDOT published last week a new roadway context classification system map and guidance that spelled out their new speed limit setting process. This is something they've been working on for a really long time. And I looked over it today. I was really excited to see that. It just means that they're going to be looking at context when setting speed limits. So in the village where there's denser population, more bike ped connectivity and activity, more commercial activity, that it doesn't make sense to have a 35, 40 mile per hour speed limit through Gray Village, and something closer to a 25 or 30 mile per hour might make more sense. And so we really appreciate MDOT's work on that. I look forward to setting speed limits in various areas of town. And the CTAC meeting will be, the next Community Television Advisory Committee meeting will be in January. And under communication, I received emails from Bill Chapman and Pam Edson.
Krista?
Yep. So for committee reports, Greater Portland Council of Governments Executive Committee is on hiatus for the month of December, so they'll reconvene again in January. But in the meantime, I did attend their welcome reception the evening of December 11th, where they welcomed new elected officials and also appointed officers. Mike was honored as a new town manager. It was very well attended, even though the weather was not very good, and the town of North Yarmouth hosted, so thank them for doing that. The Ordinance Advisory Committee postponed their December 9th meeting and will be reconvening again on the 30th. Doug is currently still going over maps for us to review at our next meeting related to the zoning amendments. And the Blueberry Festival Committee has yet to reconvene, but I expect they will do so in the new year. I also received correspondence from Pam Edson and Bill Chapman.
Thank you. Levi?
So for correspondence, I also received the Bill Chapman and Pam Edson emails. The Dry Mills Schools House meeting was postponed until January, so I still don't have any committee meetings to report in this period. And finally, I just wanted to wish everyone happy holidays.
Thank you. Mike?
Thank you. I missed the last Thursday's meeting with, I think it was the planning board. I was out of town. I did want to give a quick update. I mentioned a couple weeks ago about the dog that had been lost. Unfortunately, they did find the dog, if anybody's still out there looking. Unfortunately, the dog did pass. As far as correspondence goes, I did get, and we met today, the Finance Committee met today, and are looking at ways to improve how we look at information, what type of information we're looking at, and overall, a great meeting. I think that, with all the steps that we're putting in to avoid any issues that we had in the past, and just looking forward in getting us in the right position that we need to be in. As far as correspondence goes, I got a few different, I got the Bill Chapman and the Pam Edson emails. I did have one person call me in question about the lights and asking about the cost, and I said I would find out some more information for them. And then I had one other individual that approached me and said they're really excited about Mike's Monday chat with Mike, and they asked if you could ever change the date later on in the week because Mondays are hard. But I do have to admit that was my son that asked that question. So
No, it wasn't.
it was, yes. So that's all I have, and have a great Christmas and happy Hanukkah.
Thank you. The planning board did meet on the 12th. I did not attend, but I was viewing the meeting. The two issues on the planning board are, one of note is Hannaford is planning to expand its current facility to add about 12,000 square feet more, which would also cause some additional parking. Most of it's to deal with their Hannaford to Go services, which have grown. I guess they caught on during COVID and they haven't gone away. The other issue that the planning board was, they provided a final review for the Stillwater Pines second phase subdivision up on Woodcock Road. There were some issues with the CZA, which I think are good to note. The council at the time wanted the road and the conduit and utilities to the athletic field that we're going to be a part of the build in phase one, but there are some permitting issues around that prevented them from being able to do that. The planning board solution, which I thought was a great one, is that they basically will just use some of the surety bonding that's part of that development already to guarantee that that work gets done as part of phase two. There is an Army Corps of Engineers permit that is needed for the culvert that was already been installed in over the Pleasant River. They didn't think they needed one at first, but the developer is going to get that. The perimeter trail, there was a lot of discussion. Actually, the planning board, it took them a lot of time to work through this issue, which I think is something that the council needs to think about when it comes to things like the CZA. The solution, again, the planning board had was that they were going to let the developer and staff come to an agreement as to what the solution would be for the trail network there. They specifically noted the rec committee, but open space might want to also ride the coattails of that. So Ian, I don't know if you want to get in touch with Kristen, but see when how that's all gonna come to be. There are two different homeowners associations with relation to Woodcock Road. Again, another issue I think for the council to keep in mind when we're doing a CZA. I don't know that it will necessarily make for difficulties, but you have basically two different groups in responsibility for maintaining different parts of the road. And I think that's something that the council could have addressed during the CZA process. They did receive final approval. And I want to make special note that the applicant's representative thanked Kristen and Doug specifically for all of their support and efforts in getting through this. This phase has been really difficult for the developer to get, especially through DEP. Not so much because of the complications with the site plan, but just because of the backup and some of the other issues that have come up. So he thanked the staff for he thanked the staff for their help, but he also thanked the Gray Planning Board and said that he really actually likes coming to the Gray Planning
Oh,
Board
that's
and
good to
working
hear,
with them.
yeah.
So that was very positive feedback for them. So kudos to them for that. For correspondence, I too received correspondence from Bill Chapman and Pam Edson. I also received correspondence from Nicole Spencer and Nancy Sawyer with regards to issues that the planning board is taking up. And that's all I have for and the planning board will meet January 9th next year. And it says on the website that the CZA is meeting on December 25th. I kind of doubt that, but
What's meeting?
ZBA.
ZBA is meeting on
no.
the 25th, so I'm sure that that's not accurate.
We'll get that corrected.
I
Apologize.
just noticed that today. All right, next on our agenda is our report from our town manager. Mike?
Yes, I got some slides to share. So I did want to mention that MSAD 15, the school district for Gray and New Gloucester, had recently sent out a communication. Doesn't look like it's, but you can see it. They've sent out a communication. They're developing a community listserv where people can get notifications related to the school department and the school department's business. And so they've asked us to try to share that community-wide. So we've shared that on our website. So if you have a moment and you want to get that information, to get on our website and the link to complete that form to the school department. And the school department does have a new superintendent. Shonda's her first name, but let me just Turner. Dr. Shonda Turner is the interim superintendent at the school, and this is an initiative of hers to try to get more communication out to the community. So I let her know that we would share it both on all our media channels, as well as I would share it this evening. So just wanted to let everyone know about that. The other, I have some general updates. It looks like the Teams isn't moving up here, Kyle, so nobody can see the slide advance. I don't know if that's my computer or, oh, it just advanced. Let me do it again. So I had some general updates. The department reports are included in the packet. Kyle, our communications and IT director, has also worked to develop a summary of high-level summary of all the department reports to publish as part of the newsletter and to share on our website monthly, so residents can see the work that town staff are doing. And so he shared that first one this evening, so appreciate his efforts to compile all that to share things publicly. I also want to mention the New Gloucester TV position that we talked about at our last meeting was approved yesterday evening by the New Gloucester Select Board. Thank you, Kyle, for attending that meeting. So we've posted that position, and we'll do our best efforts to try to recruit someone given the part-time budget of funding that we have. So we'll keep everybody posted on that. And then I wanted to just show everyone and hand out the financial. I know it's been a while since the town council's seen financial reports, and as we continue to clean things up with the finances and have confidence in the finances ourselves, I wanted to show everyone the financial dashboard. There's a small picture of it here, but I'll hand this out. It's a packet, so hand one down, hand them both down. They're fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 24 budget to actual reports on this financial dashboard that we created. And so Councilor Johnson mentioned the Finance Committee met before and we received some feedback on this, so we're going to make some tweaks to do that. We found that sometimes the reports from the financial system are a little bit complicated to read, and so we created this little dashboard to kind of share with folks where we're at from a budget perspective. I'll just point out for fiscal year 25, I know you just got this and you'll need some time to look at it, but we have about 53% of our budget remaining, so being about 6 months through the year, we're really right on track for both expenditures and revenues. So we're looking forward to being able to report on a more regular basis. I hope to include this in the monthly department reports going forward, and then we're going to be communicating that. We'll also attach the reports that come from our financial accounting software Trio, so folks can see those as well in addition to this. But we tried to make a report that was a little bit easier for folks to read, and we'll tweak that as we go. So hopefully that's welcome information. And then Councilor Johnson also mentions the table talk with myself at Two Moms Kitchen. The flyers here on the screen. This is something that, I've worked to try to communicate with as many people in the community as possible, but I'll give credit to Kyle Hediniak, our Communications and IT Director, who kind of thought of this as an opportunity to be able to meet with people at a local business. We know the time doesn't work for everyone, and so we're just hoping to start something up, have an opportunity for people to come. We'll tweak it as we receive feedback, and we'll try to do some alternate times. But our first one is the first Monday in January, which is January 6th from 12 to 1 at Two Moms Kitchen. And it's just an opportunity to share your feedback about the town with me in a informal, relaxed, conversational setting, and support a local business in the community at the same time. I'll always mention that this is never a requirement for people to come to this, that I'm always available and can adjust my schedule to meet with anyone at any time for any matter that in reference to the town of Gray. So happy to do that at any time if these times don't work for folks. But again, we'll work to tweak times in the future. So we hope that this is well received and that we're able to get more information to people to come and ask honest questions. And then I know it's been mentioned a number of times, the concern about holiday lights in the community. As part of the fiscal year 25 budget, the council supported funds in the budget for that purpose. Approximately $25,000 was allocated in the economic development budget, which the economic development budget is funded through tax increment financing. So the general property taxpayer is not funding that expense. And this year, initially, we've spent about $20,000. We have some other supplies and things like that associated with those lights. They're not all up. That's just our first investment. And as long as the council and the residents support in the future, we hope to make other investments with the goal to try to attract people to the town of Gray in the holiday season to support our local businesses and visit the community as an economic development activity. So we hope that they're well received and that people, I know I've received a ton of positive feedback.
Great.
Having done a lot of this work in my previous role, I used to jokingly say it's the only time of the year where we have a month full of compliments and that we're able to absorb and hear from. So I know that a lot of people have enjoyed them thus far, and I hope people are able to enjoy them more. And again, I had publicly thanked our facilities department who took the lead on this, and our Public Works Department who supported. And like I said, with the council supports in next year's budget, we hope to expand it more into the future. That's all I had this evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Great, thank you very much. Next, we have public comment on non-agenda items. Citizens have a right and are encouraged to speak at our meetings. At this time, people may speak about items not on this agenda. Public comment on agenda items will be heard later in the meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, though the chair may grant an additional 3 minutes. And as always, additional comments are welcome at the end of this meeting prior to the council's adjourning. Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak to the council on something not on the agenda? I'm not seeing anyone.
There's no one online.
There's no one online. So we will move on to our next item on our agenda, which is under new business, Resolve 2425-18, the Village Transformation Project Partnership. Sorry, folks. And that appears on packet page 30. The Village Transformation Project Partnership be resolved that the Greytown Council hereby approves the attached resolution and project report regarding the Village Transformation Project Partnership and authorizes the town manager to sign and deliver the resolution and project report as requested by the Maine Department of Transportation. This is the first and final reading, December 17, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Motion Ann, second Krista. This, as the motion says, it contains not only the resolution, which follows on packet page 31, but also an updated report from the principal group, which starts on packet page 33. Before we get going, I just specifically want to single out Ann for going above and beyond and doing a tremendous amount of work, especially at a time when we only had temporary leaders sitting in the manager's position, and there was not the staff to go around to really help keep this project moving, and Ann really stepped up into that position and I've heard nothing but positive things from everybody else involved about the work that you did. So I know I'm not the only one that thanks you for doing that, but I think one of the key reasons we're here tonight and that didn't fall to the wayside is because of you, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ditto.
Is it, Michael?
I was going to ask, would you like me to read the actual resolution just for the public's benefit, or no?
Yeah, I was thinking about reading it, but yeah, if you're volunteering, go ahead.
I'll volunteer to read it for
I
the
think
public's
it
benefit. You
is-
read the motion, which encompasses it in short order, but I'll just read it quickly.
Yeah, I think it is important that people hear all the details.
So the Village Transformation Project Partnership Resolution, whereas the Town of Gray has signed a cooperative planning agreement with the Maine Department of Transportation for a state road rehabilitation project in Gray Village that is planned to take place on portions of Main Street, also known as Route 202, and Yarmouth Road, also known as Route 115, along the small portions of Shaker Road, West Gray Road, Center Road, Portland Road, and Brown Street that intersect with those major routes. These improvements are designed to increase safety, accessibility, and comfort for all users within the village. It will replace failing stormwater drains and build infrastructure that improves safety and accessibility for bicyclists and pedestrians while improving circulation and routing for motorists, emergency vehicles, transit, and freight. Whereas the Town of Gray and Maine DOT worked collaboratively with town staff, elected officials, consultants, and residents to develop a vision for the Gray Village Transformation Project study. These efforts involve multiple public meetings, presentations to the town council, a meeting with businesses and commercial property owners, and a 3-day planning charrette, as well as data and engineering analyses, which led to the attached report. The goals of this project are to enhance economic viability, bicycle and pedestrian safety, and vehicle safety while balancing the need of mobility for all modes of travel. And whereas the Town of Gray and Maine DOT partnered on this project due to maintenance and of said infrastructure being previously the responsibility of the state, and which became the Town of Gray's responsibility due to becoming an urban compact area following updated census data. MDOT agreed to combine the project on Yarmouth Road, which had previously been approved for a municipal partnership initiative grant, into a combined project that would be more competitive for special federal funds. And whereas the total project costs greatly exceed the town's and Maine Department of Transportation's available resources, therefore the town and Maine DOT will work together to seek special federal funding. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town of Gray formally accepts the Village Transformation Project study as prepared by the town's consultant principal group and requests Maine DOT continue to collaborate with the town as follows. 1, work with the Gray Town Manager and other appointed staff to jointly with MDOT pursue viable special federal funding sources. If special federal funding is secured, the town of Gray accepts the responsibility for paying at least 10% of the total project costs. See Maine DOT local cost share policy, which was updated on December 2nd of this year. Maine DOT will lead design and construction in close collaboration with the town of Gray. And 4, project implementation will include additional opportunities for municipal and public input. And 5, project implementation will follow all applicable state and federal design standards. Now therefore, the Town of Gray Town Council by resolution on December 17, 2024 supports and endorses the work outlined in this resolution, and the town manager is authorized to sign and deliver the resolution as requested. And as the chair mentioned, the report is attached after that on packet page 33, and there's also a letter that's drafted and signed by the town council on packet page 35. And then lastly, a representative of Maine Department of Transportation is here, William Gale, who has a couple of different hats, I think, but I'll allow him to introduce himself at the podium and share the Maine Department of Transportation's support for this project. His colleague, Dale Dowdy, who you've all met, the Deputy Commissioner, is traveling in Aroostook County now, exploring some of the roads up there and the efforts on Maine DOT's efforts. So he sent Will's in his place, and we're excited to hear from him.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair and Council members and Town Manager Foley. Exactly, we just wanted to express our excitement for this vote if it were to pass. A couple of items in the resolution that I just wanted to stress as we potentially move forward, again, if passed. One, the item number 3, this is, we're going to be moving in close coordination with the town on this project as we look at the design and construction. And then also number 4 related to additional input from the public and stakeholders as we move forward. So in no way is this locked in and we're moving. This is still kind of an iterative process, although all that hard work from Councilor Gass, it sounds like, has really laid the foundation for a great and competitive project. So with that, I don't want to take up too much time, but I also just want to note and say that this step is a critical first step for getting federal funding for this project that otherwise we wouldn't have the necessary funds to utilize. So always available for any questions, either before the vote or after. Just let us know and be around. Thank you again.
Great, thank you.
And I'll just add, in my discussions with his colleague, Dale Dowdy, and Brad Foley, who's the point engineer from the Maine Department of Transportation that's working with us on this, they'll be doing some preliminary, following this report and submission to them, they'll be doing preliminary engineering necessary for the grant application and begin to work on the grant application with the goal of submitting it in what they call a fiscal year 26 funding stream. It is a competitive funding stream, and there may be competition from within our own state, but they, as part of the resolution, Maine DOT is committed to working with us to secure funding. So the initial pot that we're looking at is the RAISE grant, which is a transportation grant that the federal government has authorized for a number of years. That still has 2 more years authorized on that, and so we hope to receive funding there. If we're not successful receiving funding there, we'll work on with Maine DOT for other special federal funding applications, and we hope to be able to be successable. Maine DOT has been dedicated, from my perspective, to this effort and to the town of Gray for a number of years, and I have a great working relationship with them, and we've been able to foster that. And then lastly, I know I don't want it to be a broken record, but when I came in, Councilor Gass agreed to continue to help foster this project along, and as part of the budget, the council supported a project manager and town engineer to join, funded through economic development funds, and Mike Thomas joined those efforts, and gracefully transitioned all of her efforts. So
Gracefully and gratefully.
She's still been actively participating, but now we have a town staff person who's helping us to keep this ball rolling. This does encompass a lot of the actual road-related activities, while our town engineer Mike Thomas and I continue to work on some of the other goals of the project, which are wastewater treatment, underground utilities, and potentially natural gas that we'll continue to explore and report back as part of those efforts in coordination with this project.
Any other comments, or? Krista?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a broken record, but I just want to acknowledge all the hard work and years that has gone into this planning, not just from this council, but from prior
Yes.
councils.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, I
And,
was gonna say
and
the same
also
thing.
just a nod to Anne from my perspective. I have been working on this, as have fellow councilors, since I started on council 3.5 years ago, and it begun even prior to that. So this is just the fruit of a lot of labor and time and energy from a lot of different people. And honestly, I was just really proud reading it and excited to apply for this grant and get the work going. So.
Yeah.
Anyone else? I've got a couple of things I'd like to say. I would like to thank the principal group also,
Yeah.
who's been a partner in this for quite some time now. And I'm quite certain that without their help and ability to take people's ideas and present them in such a way that they could be shared and easily visualized by other people, this would have been it would have been less likely that we would be here today with this particular project. And so I think we owe them our thanks. To Krista's point, it's important that the community realize that this isn't just the work of this council, though we got to sign the memo that starts the report. It has been going on for years. We've struggled for years to attract a diverse tax base. We've always wondered why we couldn't sort of get to this point. And frankly, it's those councils that came before this one that were willing to carry the ball part of the way. And I think as a community, we've gotten better about not only figuring out how to define the way we want things to be, but to look over a much longer period of time and look out into the future. And I mean, these projects can take 10 years. And I think it's a credit to the community that we've gotten over that hurdle, that we're at the point now where we're not just talking about fixing stuff that's broken or even things that need to be done necessarily next year, but we're looking out 5 years or even further to see what we have to do today, so that even though we won't be here anymore, the community will be in a position to realize whatever it needs at that point in time. And I think that's a real accomplishment for us as a community. We've also gotten much better with working with our state and federal legislators and eliciting their input and support and guidance on these things. And they have helped us with smaller things like the grant that we got for the sidewalks that we'll be building up on Libby Hill and the intersection there, the emergency sort of exit for the school district. So I think there is a lot here to celebrate. There is within the council packet about a 45-page report that the principal group put together that really details graphically in a really simple way to understand. And I really encourage everybody to take a look at it. It's more of a visual report than it is a written one. And the last thing I'd like to say is to the people who voted for the comp plan 4 years ago. It was a previous presidential election. It brought out a lot of voters, and 75% of those voters supported the comp plan.
Yeah.
And this is a cornerstone of that. There's more in the comp plan. We're working on the zoning, and so we were slow to start, I think, as far as figuring out how to make the comp plan sort of a part of our everyday work, but there were also a lot of other challenges during those
Yeah,
years
just a couple.
that slowed us down. So I know that was a little long-winded, but I do think this is kind of a milestone that's worth spending a little time celebrating. Any other comments? We'll go to roll. Ann?
Yes.
Krista?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. Good.
Yay.
There we go.
Thank you.
This guy, I think we owe ourselves a round of applause.
All right. Let me go back to my agenda here. In our agenda, you'll notice that we have item number 11 is the referrals. We've talked about that in the past. The town manager has worked with staff and the council to get that documentation done. So for the first time in our agenda, we have a list of those things that used to be on the old council task list that have been boiled down to the most important priorities. And that information is not only here on the agenda, but further in the packet. You can find the specifics about what each of those things are. And I think that's going to be really helpful, not only for the councils and the future councils, but also just for members of the public to sort of keep track of, what plates we have spinning.
And on the agenda, it'll just be the title
Yes.
will be listed there, so we know what outstanding items we have.
Yes, yep.
And then in the future, if counselors have items that they want to bring up, they can complete one of these forms. This is all the items we talked about and agreed to at the last workshop.
Yes.
But the crazy example I provided, if someone wants to pave the roads with gold, they could make that referral and the council could act on it in this section of the meeting.
And this is just a easier way for us not only to tee things up to find out what the council's priorities are, but also to keep track of work that's in progress. So with that, the next order of business is our,
So you would just need to take a motion to send those referrals, to add those referrals to the referral list.
oh, okay.
Point of order, Dan?
Yes.
We also just skipped over the last public comment. I don't know if you wanted to acknowledge that also.
They do. Yeah, things are in a different order but anyways, I didn't realize that we need to add this, so we need to,
Yeah, so these are the referrals. So
Okay.
when it's on this portion of the agenda, it would be when the council would make a motion to make that referral, to then have it be transferred down to the current council referrals.
I see.
And so in the future, when we have new items.
They would appear here.
That would appear here.
Got you.
And if the council agreed collectively to continue to discuss those items, then they would be moved down to that list.
And these 5 issues here are, the details are in fact in the council packet.
And they're from the last workshop.
Yep, the council retreat, and they appear starting on packet page 79. So can I have a motion then to accept the referrals for the comprehensive plan rezoning, the clean water quality shoreland ordinance, the pop-up business ordinance, to update the public safety ordinance, and for the village transformation project?
Motion.
Second.
Levi, second. Michael, any discussion? I think we've talked about them a lot already.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do roll then. Mike?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Krista?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. And now we will have our second public comment session of the evening. Is there anyone present who would like to make a comment tonight? Don't see anyone online, and no one here is stepping up to the mic. So we will move on to our final item tonight is an executive session. The Greytown Council will enter into executive session under MRSA Title I, Chapter 13, 405-6A to discuss personnel matters. No decisions will be made following this executive session, and the council will adjourn afterwards. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Levi, second. Krista?
Second.
Ann?
Yes.
Krista?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I am also a yes. So we will adjourn to executive session. Thank you very much, everyone.